This is Module 5 in the series of Vista Imaging Clinical Capture training modules, and it will cover the menu options in the Clinical Capture application. It is suggested that the modules initially be viewed in sequential order to become familiar with the options necessary to perform document scanning and image captures. Additional information about the menu options can be found in the current Clinical Capture user manual. I have logged into Vista Imaging Clinical Capture, and for this demonstration there is no need to select a patient. The file menu options have been discussed in prior modules, so I will start with the Options menu, which is the second from the left on the menu bar. The Import options at the top of the list has a submenu called Import Directory Options, which is also the seventh option from the top, and a submenu called Select Files to Import. Import functionality is demonstrated in Module 4, Importing Images. The second item in the list, Field Tabbing Sequence option, was created for an early version of Clinical Capture, and it does not need to be used in the current application. The Batch Capture options, which is discussed in Module 4, is only displayed if the source on the current settings toolbar is set to import. The next item in the list, Alternate Viewer Options, allows the user to customize how certain file types are displayed. By default, video files, PDF files, DICOM files, and text files are displayed in the Clinical Capture window. To display any of these file types in an alternate viewer, select the checkbox next to the file type. It is suggested that the alternate viewer for Adobe PDF Files box be checked, which will display the files in Adobe Reader. Click the OK button at the bottom left of the dialog box to save changes made to the settings. The Auto Settings option is next in the list, and it opens a new window labeled User Session Settings with 4 tabs at the top of the window. The Auto Settings tab at the far left allows the user to select any or all of the 3 options to control the tab and keyboard actions to make image indexing more efficient. Selections on this tab are saved to the Imaging User Preference file in Vista or RPMS, so that the settings are available to the user on any workstation they log into. The Scroll Bar and Zoom Settings tab at the left center of the window allows the user to customize the default zoom and scroll bar settings for images displayed on the right side of the main capture window. I suggest Use Fit to Window setting be selected initially, but I encourage users to experiment with all of the settings using a test patient to learn how the other options could be helpful in the image capture processes. Selections on this tab are also saved to the Imaging User Preference file. The Import Directories tab at the right center of the window allows the user to set or modify the import directory settings for the workstation. Additional information is available in Module 4, Importing Images. As noted in bold letters at the top of this tab, these settings are the same for all users, meaning they are saved to the mag.ini file on the workstation. The Visit Location tab at the far right allows the user to select a visit location where the procedure took place for new progress notes created in Clinical Capture. As previously mentioned, progress notes created in Clinical Capture are always historical visits, meaning that the visit is not used for workload credit. Historically, many IHS sites have created an entry in the hospital location file called Vista Imaging, which they use as the default visit location for image captures in order to maintain consistency within their electronic health record. There are 2 choices on this tab which are labeled in blue font. The first is Don't Use Default Values for Visit Location, which means that a visit location will have to be manually entered for each new progress note. The second choice is Use Default Values for Visit Location in the following order. The first option Use Visit Location from Configuration means that if progress note information is saved to a configuration button, it will contain a default visit location. The next option is My Default Visit Location for new progress notes, which is the default setting for an individual user. Although there is a pull-down arrow at the right of the box, clicking it will display a new window with instructions to enter a few characters of the location, and all matching entries will be listed. For this example, primary care is already entered in the box. I will type FI, which will display all visit locations that begin with those two letters. I will select the first one, making it my new default visit location. The third choice is Workstation Default Visit Location. If none of the other options are selected, and there is an entry in this box, it will be the default location for every user who logs into the workstation. Selections on this tab are also saved to the Imaging User Preference file. To save changes made on any of the four tabs, click the OK button at the bottom left of the window. The scroll bar and zoom settings, import directory options, and visit location options open the same tabs as the auto settings option. The annotation settings option will not be discussed in this module, as the functionality will be changed in a future clinical capture patch. The interested viewer is encouraged to view the existing annotation training modules on the Vista Imaging SharePoint or the IHS Vista Imaging website. When the Show Hints option is selected, hints or tooltips are displayed when you mouse over a toolbar button or a field. This option is checked by default, as is the next option, Show Confirmation Messages. This will prompt you to confirm your choices and actions at certain points of the capture process. The next option is Toolbars, which allows the user to customize the toolbars that can be displayed. Below this is the User Preferences option, which allows the user to save all settings controlled from the Options menu to the Vista or RPMS system. The fourth option from the bottom of the list is Icon Shortcut Key Legend, which displays an explanation of the icons and shortcuts available. Next is the Message History option, which is used as a troubleshooting tool. The last two options in the list are Combined TIFF scans and Combined PDF scans. These options are dependent on the format of the original document scanning setting, and they allow additional pages to be combined with the currently scanned pages before saving the document. The third option from the left, Tools, was primarily used in earlier versions of Clinical Capture, and it is rarely used in the current application. The next option to the right is Configurations, which is the subject of Part 1 of Module 3. The fourth option from the right, System Manager, is only visible to holders of the MAG System security key, and this option is the subject of Module 2. The next option to the right, Utilities, and the submenu option Controlled Image will be discussed in the Clinical Display training modules. The second menu option from the right, Image, provides image manipulation tools which are keyboard controlled. The Image toolbar, directly above the display section of the capture window on the right, contains the same image manipulation tools which are controlled by the mouse. Hovering the mouse over the icons will display the tooltips or hints associated with them. It is important to note that at the time this module was created, there are known issues with some of the image manipulation tools not functioning properly with the Patch 140 Clinical Capture application. The Rotate, Invert, Pan Window, Flip Horizontal, and Flip Vertical buttons may not work depending on the document scanner and the settings being used. These issues will be resolved in a future Clinical Capture patch. The Help menu option at the far right is not up to date in Patch 140, and it will also be updated in a future Clinical Capture patch. This is the end of Module 5.